I'm going to give you the secret today. Okay, that's what the title of the message is. The secret to an awesome, Christ-centered, successful marriage. So think about this if you're moving toward it or if you're in it. This is the secret. And I'm going to give it to you in two parts, okay? First, kind of the negative side of the coin, and then the positive, and we'll do them kind of quick side by side here. First, the negative way of stating it is that the secret to a successful marriage is not finding the right person. The secret to a successful marriage is not finding the right person. Now, here's what I mean by that, because that statement runs counter to everything in our culture. Everything in our world says it's about finding the one. Finding Mr. Right. That's what all the books and movies and magazines. I watched a fun movie with Kel last night on Hallmark, and man, it was all about, she found the one. Took her the whole movie to get there, but she found the one, and then she kissed, and the credits rolled. You know why? Because Hallmark has no idea how to deal with life after that moment. Right? It's just true. So she thought she found the one anyway, and we're all led to believe that she did. And of course, you know where the world goes. If it doesn't work out, well then, I guess they just weren't the one. Because when you find the one, it'll all be good. Well, listen, that's not what it's about. What it's about is the second part. The secret to a successful marriage is becoming the right person. Okay? It starts with pausing and taking a look inside here, doing an inventory, and responding to what Peter writes in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. This is the verse that we're going to consider this morning. It's just a short little phrase, but it is so powerful. Peter says, 1 Peter 3:15, but in your hearts set apart Christ as Lord. Set apart Christ as Lord. Make the decision today that I don't take my cues from the world or the culture regarding this subject or any other subject in the world. I am dedicating my life to following Jesus and living a life that honors Him and that is in keeping with who He is. Friends, this is the foundation, not just to sex and relationships and doing that way. This is the foundation to every other part of your life being joyful. Your social life, your spiritual life, your emotional life. When Jesus gets to sit on the throne of your heart, when you give Christ the steering wheel, He will direct your life toward wholeness, toward peace, toward joy, toward a healthy place, including in these areas that we're talking about today. Tell you a story that I heard a while back that I think illustrates this so well. There's a girl, it's based on a true story. I'm going to just change some names here. So her name was Lisa, we'll say. And Lisa was raised in a Christian home. And she was taught all the right things about Jesus. She grew up in the youth group. She grew up at church. She knew all the right things. She could answer all the questions in the Bible studies. But for her, it never really moved, like Danny was talking about with our song. It never quite moved from here to here. She never really got serious about surrendering her life and setting Christ apart as Lord of her life. She could probably quote that verse, but she didn't actually know what it meant to live there. And so when she got into her 20s, she just launched into the dating world, and she did it the way the world prescribed. She just was looking for Mr. Right. And man, she went on all kind of dates. And there were some ups, and there were some downs. There were some really fun ones, and there were some train wrecks. Right? But all in all, she said, it just kind of was empty. It's just empty. Where's this going? She couldn't find Mr. Right. And then she found him. Steve was his name. And he was the total package. He had the looks. He had the personality. He had the career. He had the brains. And he loved Jesus Christ with all of his heart. He wasn't obnoxious about his faith. He was just genuine and authentic, and he built his life and his values and his morals and his ethics and everything he did around the lordship of Jesus. It was awesome. And so a weekend or two after she met him, she was at home and she was talking. Lisa was talking with her mom about Steve and how awesome he was. One of those mom-daughter talks. I'm not very good at describing it because I'm like outside that window. But you guys, you get where I'm going, right? And they're just talking and they're just sharing. And she's just going on and on about how awesome Steve is. And her mom, in a moment of just mom love, speaking the truth in love to her daughter, she said, honey, Steve sounds awesome. There's just one problem with this whole thing. Guys like Steve, who are really serious about their walk with Jesus, aren't looking for girls like you who aren't. And it was like, thanks, Mom. You know, she got defensive. She got angry. It's the cycles we go through when we're hit with some truth like that sometimes. But it really made her stop and think. And after she kind of blew up and tried to defend herself, even knowing in her heart that her mom was right, she went to her bedroom and had a real time of reflection in her life. Now, we'll come back to Lisa's story in a second, but I want to shift gears and just share a little bit from my story. I remember when I was a student at Anderson University, I had some friends, Brian and Jeannie, who went to New Hope Christian there with us. And I said, Brian, is there a Christian girl left on the planet? You ever felt that way? Like, come on, because I was so tired of just looking. And I was like, I don't even want to date. I just want a friend. I just want a friend. Well, Brian, and especially Jeannie, she was a matchmaker, and she's like, And she knew this girl who had come to Anderson from Pennsylvania to go to school. Her name was Kelly. And so she invited her to come to dinner. It was a blind date. And they set us up. Yeah, come on now. I wasn't going to go there, but it was. It was at least a half a blind date, right? Those of you who are on the inside know what I'm saying there. The rest of it, though, come on, let's get out of that. The rest of it was history, though, because we were kind of inseparable after that. And now we've enjoyed 27 years plus of awesome marriage. Now, yes, there's been ups and there's been downs and all of the stuff that comes with life, but we have walked through it with our eyes on Jesus, loving each other. And it's been awesome. But here's the deal. I was looking for a girl who loved Jesus. Now, I just happened to get really doubly blessed that this girl who loved Jesus was also beautiful and the smartest girl I've ever known, and has probably made me, has made me a far better person. Because there's been days when she's loved Jesus more than me and said, Brad, and as my mom used to say, she jerked a knot in my tail and pulled me back and come on. And she's been everything. She's smart. She's funny. And then I guess she saw something in me too, because she was looking for a guy who loved Jesus. And she's told me many, many times over the course of our marriage, Brad, if I'd have met you BC, I wouldn't have been interested. And I don't blame her. She probably wouldn't even have come to the dinner. Jeannie wouldn't even have invited her because she wasn't looking for that. See, both of us had made decisions in our past about following Jesus that shaped us into the kind of person that the person we were looking for was looking for. Do you get it? We had made decisions, I want to say that one more time. We had made decisions in our past about following Jesus that had shaped us into the kind of person that the person we were looking for was looking for. That's why becoming the right person is more important than just randomly trying to find the right person. You see, if you're here today and you're like, yeah, I go to church, but if you're honest, you're living what is called a lukewarm life, right? You're like, yeah, I go to church, but I also got one foot over here in the world, and I'm kind of doing this thing, and you just know you're not really, You don't set apart Christ as Lord. You just kind of know that. But man, you want to find a mate who loves Jesus and who's honest and faithful and good and true and all of those things that someone who loves the Lord, that kind of character. Well, here's what you just got to understand. That person isn't looking for a lukewarm person. Right? So we just got to really kind of grab onto that. Now, this myth of finding the right person is powerful because it's half true. Once you dedicate your life to Christ and you set Christ apart as Lord, now you've got a framework and a clear idea about the kind of person that you want to be as part of your life. So let's get back to Lisa. She's back in her room and she said, "That day, I changed my life. I rededicated my life to following Christ. And I decided right then and there that I was going to focus on becoming the kind of person who would be right for the kind of person that I want to date and someday maybe marry." That's the key. That's the key. That's the big lesson today.